Well, listen, let's talk about these receivers.
Let's go to the receivers.
We're a little rapid fire.
Yeah, no
All
problem.
Right, what do you got?
So I got number 5, my boy Lad McConkey. Now, there's going to be a lot of people. Lad McConkey, who the heck is that? I mean, go look him up.
Okay.
You might be
All
surprised. Right. And now, check this. I had Lad McConkey in front of Johnny Wilson, 6'7", almost 240-pound receiver from FSU. Brian Thomas and Troy Franklin from Oregon and LSU, respectively. And there's one reason
Brian
why
Thompson is not in your top 5?
he is not in my top 5. He was actually number 6. And I'll tell you why, okay? Brian Thomas, you're going to watch the film with the two guys, and you're going to go, oh, Brian Thomas definitely has. Brian Thomas, I see right now, I see really a down-the-field type receiver. That's what I see. Lad McConkey, I see a guy for the next 10 to 15 years is going to rip apart the middle of the field and just be an excellent, dominant slot receiver, similar to how he was at Georgia. Now, granted, he's working off of Brock Bowers too as well, but that is so important in today's NFL, a guy that can just work the middle of the field.
Listen, my issue with him is that I don't think he'll be able to separate in NFL. I think he has to be in a perfect setup, right? You know, the old school Patriots and Tom Brady's gone, and so the setup and situation matters. But yes, if you were to pair him with Patrick Mahomes, if you paired him with
he's not going to get drafted high, too. That's the thing. I think he's going to be in a decent situation.
That's the thing. I'm struggling to find out the next best situation for him. But, you know, he's got some talent.
Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chargers. Give me, like, any number of teams. And the Chargers are looking for that type of a receiver, too, a guy who can go work the middle of the field. Right. Just watch out for Lad.
All right. Listen, my number 5, right, is Adonai Mitchell from Texas.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like him a lot. Listen, I know a lot of people, again, Johnny Wilson didn't make my list. Roman Wilson, who I'm high, the Michigan wide receiver.
Sure.
Really like a lot, honorable mention. And an important honorable mention, Troy Franklin, right?
Troy Franklin was, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't
All
make my
3 of
top
those guys
5.
you just mentioned were
Right.
5, 6, 7, and 8 for me.
And so, but listen, I think Mitchell is going to be awesome. I think he's going to go second half. So he's going to end up on the Bills. He's going to end up on the Chiefs. He's going to end up on the Cowboys, right? Some team like that to be an elite offensive weapon with an elite quarterback. And I think he's going to be a steal in this draft. And I think he's the real deal. He's like 6'4", 205. He could jump through the roof, big hands, right? He's got game, right? Mitchell, my number 5.
Okay, who's your 4?
All right, my number 4, Brian Thompson. Right, like him a lot. I think he can transition. Brian Thomas.
Yeah,
right,
from LSU.
I think
Gotcha.
he can transition into almost any NFL offense because he's going to be a touchdown machine.
Okay.
I see a young.
He's very fast.
Now here's
Troy
this.
Franklin
I
are both
see a
fast.
young AJ Brown.
Wow.
I see a young AJ Brown, right?
Okay.
So I think he's going to be the real deal. And it was a struggle not to put him higher. It was a struggle to not put him higher. And I didn't want to just, make some super hot takes. But I think from a production when it comes to touchdown standpoint, I think he's going to be phenomenal. He's going to be 10 touchdowns a year and 1,000 yards.
Okay. Number 4 for me, and the only reason he's not higher is because I didn't watch a ton of their games. Keon Coleman, okay? FSU receiver. 6'4", 215 pounds. All I got to tell people is I don't have to give you a big, long explanation. Go watch the tape. This dude might be the most pure athlete in the draft at wide receiver. You're talking about a dude that he can be in double coverage. You go throw that ball up, he's going to go make a one-handed catch. Big, physical dude. Can definitely improve upon some of the little things like route running, and all these guys definitely need to work on their blocking. But just as an athlete, freak. Absolute freak, Keon Coleman. Love him. So my number 3.
Where you going?
Guy I talked about a bunch this year too as well, Rome Odunze.
Okay.
Right outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., I think Rome Odunze is the most NFL-ready receiver right now. And I'm talking about a guy, he's not the most athletic out of all of them, but runs all the routes, big, physical, strong dude, very good route runner too as well. But even if you cover him, he's just going to go up and make a contested catch. I think he's going to come into the NFL and immediately be a high-impact player. I'm talking 1,000 yards receiving right in his first season.
Okay. All right. Wow. So number 3 for me, Malik Neighbors. Right? He is my number 3.
Do we do another switch?
Listen, Malik Neighbors, right? Super productive, right? I see a combination of Amon St. Brown with Stephon Diggs, right?
I like that.
So I really like that combination. Because he had that additional size is why he edged out Brian Thompson. and he's got a little bit more speed. And so, granted, to me, they were a great pair, but I got to give him the respect because of that additional production. So, but Neighbors, I think, is going to be a stud. Again, I get a bigger Stephon Diggs with some St. Brown catching ability.
Sure.
So really like him a lot, and I think you could plug him into many systems, and he's going to do really, really well.
Love it, man. So who's your 2 then? I'm only going to assume it's Rome Odunze.
All right, my number 2 receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Whoa! You said I had a hot take. Whoa!
Listen, I get it, right? Marvin Harrison, extremely polished. He's the #1 receiver on almost everyone's board, and I completely understand why, right? You could plug him into any system.
He did this for the shock value. This is a shock value pick right here.
But listen, again, so like no shade, Marvin Harrison Jr., I got nothing negative to say. He's super elite. Now, my one thing about him and why he's my number 2 is the explosiveness, right? And so, granted, he can run every route. He can win against man, win against zone. He's got a super catch radius, but the only reason why he's my number 2 is because of his explosiveness, right? And so it'll be interesting to see, right? Listen, I get Anquan Bolden, but bigger, faster, right? You know, so nothing negative to say about him, but the explosiveness is just why I knocked him down 1 peg.
Wow. Okay.
1B.
So my number 2 is Malik Neighbors. And again, another one. I'm gonna sound like a broken record here. Turn on the tape. And when I turn on the tape, what I see as a guy is find as many ways to get that guy the ball as possible, because when you get that guy the ball, magic happens, man. You got to see just some of his little 3-yard routes, his 8-yard routes that turned into 20, 30-yard gains with his ability to make moves once he gets the ball in his hands. It's hard for me to come up with a comparable. I didn't mind your Amon-Ra St. Brown comparison. I see a little bit of, obviously not the speed. I'm just talking purely with the ball in his hands. I see a little Tyreek Hill too, because of once he catches the ball, the way defenses react to him. Like they're so quick to get to him, but then it's just boop, like he's like a little human joystick. Malik Neighbors, while I would have Rome Odunze, I think Rome Odunze might be better at the start of their careers just because of his frame, his build, how polished he is. I think Malik Neighbors has the potential to be the best receiver out of all this crop. So that is my number 2. And my number 1 is Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, imagine if Marvin Harrison Sr. was 4 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. Oh, wait, you don't have to because his son's here right now, and that's exactly what he is. Here's all I say to people every time I talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. Every time I watch him in a college game, I walked away and I said, that looked like an NFL player playing against college guys. Every route he runs, he's just open. He's just open. Huge, long, going to be an immediate impact, if not a number 1 receiver, depending on where he goes. Love Marvin Harrison Jr.
Listen, again, nothing
and
negative
the
to say about him, right?
Bloodline.
I get it, right? He's going to be a professional. He's going to be in the game for 12, 15 years. But my number 1, Rome Odunze, right?
Rome, man.
Listen, he is a running back playing wide receiver, right? And he's an elite wide receiver.
He is.
Right? He can block, run after
Yep.
the catch, explosiveness. He's going to have separation.
He's a pro.
He is Jamar Chase.
He is a pro.
The second coming.
More
right?
physical, in my opinion.
So think about that.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Not
so
quite
listen.
but yeah. I hear you.
Literally,
Yeah.
I think you plug him in any system, any quarterback, 1,500 yards, 10 to 12 touchdown. He's going to have an elite career, right, because of that explosiveness. And if he can somehow get a halfway decent quarterback, right, or an above average quarterback, he's going to be extremely dynamic. I get it.
Yeah.
It's easy to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. and not be wrong, right? But for me, Rome Odunze is going to be the surprise, is going to be the number 1 receiver in this class because of his ability for run after the catch, his ability to block, his ability to catch down the field, his ability to not be afraid to go across the middle. I think he has everything. He's the total package, and his explosion is going to be the difference in why he's the number 1 receiver.